Hi guys, I hope you're doing well. I am alright. Today we're in a bit of a different environment. I am on my way to the gym, and before that, I thought to have a cup of coffee and share with you some ideas that I have been thinking about quite a bit recently, and some of them have been effective for me before. And these ones are around preparation for exams. Now, if you are a practicing nurse or if you are a student, generally, there is a rhythm that we have on a daily basis, but during the exam period, or at least a few weeks before the exam period, there's a certain mind space that you'd want to get yourself into. That be a productive one, a positive mind space, and these ideas would really help with that. So let's start with like a few weeks or a few months before the exam. So, what I usually like to do to change my regular routine so that I can fit in the period of time that I need to prepare for exam is I tend to insert a few habits into my days that will put me in a positive mental space. So, for example, last year I had a really important exam to take in July, and what I would do is from what's around May, April, May, what I used to do was wake up in the morning, go for a walk at around 6 o'clock in the morning or 6:30, depending on the weather. I'd leave and go for a 30 minutes walk, and once I come back, then I'd take a shower and get to work, that is just studying. And I realized that that morning session would really allow me to meditate and put myself in a positive mind space so that if I have to study in the morning and go to work in the afternoon, then I have a rhythm already and my mind is ready to receive the studying or the work ahead. The other thing that I do also is that if I had shifts in the morning and afternoon would need me to, I'd need to study in the evenings, what I'd do was once I get back from work, then I'd take a nap or I'd take a shower or go for a walk, depending on the weather and how the day is. But I'd still have that buffer session before preparing for it, before getting into the revision session in the evening. And that I found was really, really useful. And I passed that exam. It was a really, really tough exam. I can't lie. So I realized that that was really useful and I thought to share it with you. It might be effective for you if you're practicing as a nurse or midwife, if you're a student, or if you're juggling both, because it is true that there are many people who are juggling studying and working, and it's good to have a rhythm that is effective. Now, the other bit of this is breaking that mental barrier into studying towards your exam. So, for example, if you're revising, if you need to start revision for the exam, sometimes it might be tough to get out of that mental space or at least include studying in your routines. Mentally, not really in a way that, and I'm not sure if I'm explaining this very well. What I mean is, if you want to set a rhythm in your mind that we are getting into studying, and usually it's not something that you do on a daily basis, there's a mental barrier that is worth breaking. And what I usually do with that is that I start studying in an area that I really enjoy. So for me, that is cardiovascular health. So I'd read about cardiovascular diseases and answer questions around cardiovascular diseases. That puts me in a rhythm, and with that inertia I get into studying, and it becomes easier to get into the other systems. If your specialty is pediatrics or whichever specialty you're in, you can take advantage of that and get your mind, like soothe your mind into reading more and more, and that makes it easier. Another tip around that, if that is not your cup of tea, or if that doesn't work for you, something else you can try to do is write a quiz, write an exam. For example, if you're preparing for the NCLEX exam or whatever licensure exam, so pick a bunch of questions and read on and answer them. So just start answering one by one after the other continually. You realize that that will put you in a pace and it will present an exam environment of some sort of exam environment already, and that will get you going and can break that barrier and allow you to study. Now, the final one that I realized, I tried this, it wasn't very effective for me because I found it made me a bit fearful. You might feel that way, but it might be effective for you. I usually start off by reading around areas that I'm not very confident in. So this is just an example. Imagine if endocrinal system is not your strong area, you might want to study that bit and answer some few questions. So diseases around the endocrine system, such as diabetes, hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, you might want to read around that and answer questions on it. If you read on a subject and you answer questions immediately after, there's a high probability that you're going to pass these questions, you're going to get them right, you're going to answer them correctly. So that gives you a certain level of confidence to get into reading for exams and puts you in a good place mentally. It puts you in a positive mind space towards reading for the exams and preparing for it. So that really works. And then I also realized that when you start preparing for exams, be it 6 weeks or 3 months before, it's wise to start off with the bits where you're not very good at. Start with areas that you're weak in, because it gives you the confidence of time, that you have a lot of time to still prepare for it if you're not really good at it, instead of starting off with bits that you're really good at and leaving the bits that you're not very good at to the end, because that might make you a bit anxious. So those are the tips that I have to share with you today. I'll tell you 100% that they are absolutely effective. And usually I realize that with passing exams, it starts with your mind. If you put your mind in a positive space, and if you believe in yourself and you set up structures that allow you to believe in yourself, then at the same time, you go through paths of least resistance. So make it coerce yourself into reading, encourage yourself into studying, and you'll realize that it makes it easier. So those are the tips I have for you today. I hope that you find them useful. If you have any other ideas around preparation for exams, professional development courses, and so on, please share them in the comment section and I'll be sure to go through them. With that, I wish you a lovely day, evening, or night, wherever you are watching this from, and until next time, elevate nursing. Take care.